Hi everybody, my name is Roger Richards and I'm the facilitator of spiritualonline.org. In this fabulous session of guided meditation, and when I say guided, it is actually given to us by our spiritual guides, we explore some deeper aspects of us as humans, taking a more evolutionary role in our own healing, working from the superconsciousness into our subconsciousness. And also we have our own conscious realm in between. And once we've explored this with the help of our guides, I'll hand over to our team member and wonderful co-creator, Conrad, who then brings another exposé, perhaps from a more traditional basis, in how we have aspects of the macrocosm within ourselves, and then how healing can be affected when there is illness within us. So it is a wonderful journey that Conrad takes us on there as well. We did have other discussion in the middle of the live session, which I've edited out, but it led us to the final part of this recording, where we do what is really a prayerful session for the youth of today. And we can see the bubbles of the difficulties which they are experiencing rising to the surface of society. So make yourself comfortable, have a soft light and some good ambience there, and immerse yourself into this wonderful session. So there's a group of spiritual guardians who watch over us every week, and they often speak to one another too. And some of the guardians who are watching over us are actually your own spiritual guides. And there's usually a little mini conference happening above us. They chat to each other and actually help to bring through information and content that helps each of us respectively on our spiritual pathway. So we'll begin by just closing our eyes. Invite you all to close your eyes, and hopefully you're sitting in a space that is softly lit and no distractions, no unnecessary devices on, or interruptions that can take you out of your mood. And speaking of which, I had a little mini conference just before this and I didn't light my candle. So I'm just doing that right now. Just lighting my candle. That's a little ritual, little sign for my people to be with us. And now I'm closing our eyes and just working on our breath to begin with. And the exercise that I like to do is imagine that you are drawing your breath into the center of your head, holding it there for 2 or 3 seconds consciously, and then releasing. And on the out breath, we're just going through different phases of relaxing ourselves. And I'll just guide you through those. So we're breathing in air. Now actually imagine that I'm breathing in light, because there is light encoded within the air that we breathe, and we can activate it. And imagine that this light is coming into the center of our mind and illuminating within us. And then on the out breath, I'm actually trying to relax myself, trying to let go of any anticipation, any busyness that I had in my mind before coming here. And again, I'm just breathing in light, breathing it into the center of my head, holding my breath. And now I'm also releasing, trying to release any emotions from the day. If you've had a tricky day, if you had any sad news or any frustrations or tension or whatever, I'm just trying to actively let go of it. And then breathing in light once again into the center of my head, holding my breath, and then releasing that once again. Just breathing in light, holding my breath, and then on the out breath, just releasing any tension, any stress. And we just continue doing that for a few more moments. And now I'd like you to imagine that around you is like a sphere of beautiful light. And this is just extends just beyond your auric field. We're keeping the breathing nice and rhythmical. And in our sacred space, we're trying to create a vibration which is conducive to meeting with our spiritual guides. So we're breathing in light, and we're projecting in our thoughts now a space around us in this field of light that is reverent, that is holy, and conducive to connecting with our guides. And now, before we invite our guides in, I'd like to protect the space of the group as a whole, and then individually within our own space. So to begin with, Great Divine Spirit, we ask that you shine your light, your love, your presence, and your protection upon our group at this time. We give acknowledgement to the presence of our angels and archangels, our spiritual guardians and guides, and other divine celestial beings who wish to serve with us for our highest good. We also appeal to our personal gatekeepers to protect the space in which we sit, and we ask that any spiritual impulse that comes to us into our sacred space may it come only from a divine source that serves only our highest good. And just with that intention alone, if you can hold that intention quite mentally and strongly, it will give you the protection that you need to filter out any unwanted vibrations. Now, each of us come here for perhaps a different reason, slightly different reason. So you can set your own intention for the session, whether it be a question or an objective. I'll leave that up to you, and I'll speak generally on behalf of the group. Great Divine Spirit, we come here for our soul and spiritual development, that we may become more understanding and illumined as to how we carry ourselves in our daily lives, the decisions and events that surround us, how we can best meet them to serve our highest good and to fulfill our life purpose. We also, some of us come here for knowledge, some for wisdom, some for social connection, some for spiritual connection, some for healing. Whatever it is, may each of us receive something to help us on our pathway at this time. And some of us also avail ourselves for healing for those, whether they be present or within the spiritual world. And we're also here to serve to bring more light, compassion, empathy, and love into our earthly world. Now we'll go through our chakras. So above our head, above your head, is your crown chakra, and is like a portal for higher dimensional impulses to come through, whether it is dreams, intuition, feelings, thoughts, pictures, premonitions, you name it. And we have imagined this flow coming down through the top of your head, beautiful, soft, amethyst, silvery flow of frequency, down through your head, down through your neck and shoulders, right down through your torso, down through your upper legs, down through your calves, out through the arches of your feet, and deep down into Mother Earth. Just allowing that to flow through to Mother Earth. And that flow continues right down deep into Mother Earth, grounding our spirituality. And likewise, it's like a circuit of frequency that comes back up through the arches of our feet from our Earth Mother Gaia. And it's like we are a conduit between the heaven and the earth. We are spiritually, we have a spiritual heritage and also one of Gaia in our physical body. Now before your forehead, your third eye, we can imagine a subtle, gentle impulse, beautiful deep blue frequency is coming in through our third eye, You can imagine inside your head, it's like a movie projector on the inside of your head where you may see colors, movement, images. And through our intention, we can ask that may this frequency bring us clarity in thought, that we may see the truthfulness in situations and all matters. And also receive psychic impressions from the environment around us. Move down to our throat chakra, beautiful turquoise frequency. And as we imagine we're breathing in on this frequency, we are breathing in words of wisdom, another stream from the divine world. May our words be infused with wisdom, with truth, with mindfulness of the needs of others. We move down to our heart chakra now. As we're breathing in through our heart chakra, we are trying to, the intention is to reconnect with the cosmic heights and the frequency of universal love. Often we'll feel isolated and disconnected from the divine. This is the moment we can call it in. We can imagine that our spiritual helpers, our angels, our guardians are enveloping us in the frequency of love, and we can call them in to do exactly that. They're here to help. And we can imagine a cloak of warm love being placed around us. And then through our heart chakra, this is streaming into the being and into our earthly being, into our physical heart. And from our physical heart, the warmth of this love travels right through our body. To every pore, every molecule, the love is sent to our body. And then from deep within our own heart, our own sense of compassion and empathy and love, you can imagine that blossoming like a flower of light. And that light radiating back out through our physical heart, through our heart forces, through our auric field, to all of creation. In particular, our own love is filling the sacred space which is around us, and it is essentially encoding and preparing our sacred space for higher work. And we move down to our solar plexus, and it's like a doorway of beautiful, bright, clear yellow light. Now, some of us have been projected upon us, perhaps not to be spiritual, to not do this or not do that, or be the person they want us to be. So now we're just pushing all of that back out through our solar plexus, back out into letting it return to the earth sphere, and now allowing our higher aspect, our authentic, true, higher being to walk back through the door and to become one with us once more, that we may stand in our own light, speak our own truth, and be who we should be, not what the world stereotypes us to be. Then we move down to our sacral chakra. And again, if you're still holding on to any emotions that no longer serve for this session, just imagine they're just falling away back into the earth field, so that we may work in the field of light. And now we also may connect with each other and to other people on the frequencies of empathy and the other emotions, that we may understand each other on a soul level. And now down to our base chakra, beautiful, vibrant, reddish glow. And imagine that the vitality, the vital life force, is traveling up through your spinal column. It is being essentially channeled from the etheric world. The life force within you is being activated, it's being amplified. And as it travels up through your spinal column, it is then projected into every little corner and nook and cranny of your body. And there's forces of Gaia, of Earth, traveling up, intertwined with this to bring you added strength and organic balance. Now each of us can take a minute or so just to go back through our chakras one at a time. Just imagine they are balanced and harmonized, and they're all interconnected through our meridian system. The whole auric field is glowing, flowing, and any astral blockages from our own emotions and our own earthly situation is essentially released and returned to the earth sphere. Now, as your auric field is recalibrating, it is releasing all of the lower frequencies of Earth which no longer serve us. It is almost as if your whole being may vibrate at a higher level. And within the sacred space of light in which you sit, you are essentially reconnecting with the greater matrix of the cosmos in spiritual purity, free of the earth. So you may imagine the sphere of light around you, merging and reconnecting more clearly, the barriers dissolving as we reconnect to the greater source of light. And now, as we do this, we'll give another minute or two for that to harmonize and manifest. If you have any physical discomfort whatsoever in your body, just focus on it for 10 or 15 seconds, completely focus on it. And now allow it to almost fall away back into the earth sphere. Allow the light to come into that place. Okay, now I have been given a theme to concentrate on for the next 5 minutes, and we will share and discuss this a little bit more deeply into the session. But the topic is, you are your healer and the one to make you whole again. You are your healer and the one to make you whole again. So we're going to concentrate on this theme for the next 5 minutes or so, and then I expect that a spiritual guide will come through and speak with us through me on this topic, and I'll also be inviting particularly Conrad, who I'm sure will have a connection as well to share with us, and I will also welcome anyone else who wishes to follow suit. So for now, we're just concentrating on this theme of you are the healer and the one to make you whole again. Now, I've just asked them a question. I've actually asked if they could tell us a little bit about who is speaking with us. And I'll just give to you exactly what I get without trying to think too far ahead. My friends, consider us as those who dwell on the threshold of consciousness. And we would be considered to border on your reality. But our reality is quite different from yours, only because of the perspective from which you look at existence. For you, generally speaking on Earth, look at your existence through only your physical senses, particularly your physical eyes. Whereas we reach out through the vast distances of the cosmos, through our soul spiritual senses and our spiritual eyes. And the more that you become accustomed to doing this, you'll become more accustomed to the fact that your physical reality is really only on par, maybe even less than your capabilities and capacities on the higher realms as such. And part of our task, and I say this as a collective, is to enable you to achieve the wholeness of your being, or more fullness of your being and capacities, so that you may take more charge in your own direction and your own destiny. And you only need to consider for a moment how your body works, your physical body. And it basically all works through the subconscious fields over which you have little control or little conscious application. And so your existence is quite different to what you may be consciously aware of. And as the subconscious plays a great role in keeping you alive, even your breathing, your life force, your nervous system, your heartbeat, and so on, your mind, physical mind. So there is a super consciousness which is freely available for you to tap into. And the more you tap into the super consciousness, the more power you have to manifest such into your subconsciousness. And it is time for you to take control of this vessel in which you sit, your physical being, your physical existence, your subconscious existence, and your superconsciousness. And find a way that these form together into a wholeness, into a fullness. And then to take that a step further and realize how this fullness fits in to the fullness of the cosmos. And then when you consider the power and the scope of the cosmos, of which you are an integral part, you can then consider the scope of the dominion that you are destined to have from your super consciousness into your physical existence, into your subconsciousness, and have dominion over each. It is your personal responsibility as conscious, enlightened beings to aspire to such a level where you may sustain yourself through the spiritual superconscious fields and manifest that right down through the deeper levels of your being. Much of this sustenance, much of this programming has been provided by higher intelligences, really just to keep you alive to a point where your consciousness could evolve and re-evolve to a state where you can reconnect to these spheres of superconsciousness. And for you to be the one who makes you whole again, for you to heal yourself. It may require you initially to seek the assistance of others, but in the meantime, in doing so, for you to retain the impulse and the direction and the modalities of such, rather than merely giving that power away or delegating to others, but for you to hold yourself in the place and in the direction and the projection of where you need to go. And your intent itself will lead you into the right direction and into the right guiding hands and guiding spiritual souls. Find the resonance that is within you. For many of you, you are seeking changes in your lives. And those changes must come initially from within you, from within your conscious thinking, and more so from your subconscious thinking. And as you take a greater pivotal role in the forming of who you should be and who you wish to be and who you are destined to be, so it will become. And it is endemic for you to seek these changes from within. You will therefore attract those around you to assist you on your journey, and for you to learn, absorb, and become a part of the integral whole, the whole being of humanity, the whole being of life on Gaia, the whole being within the strata of the higher dimensional spiritual worlds from which you descended and to which you reascend. And often, many of you reascend to us in your sleep and then reawake in the morning unconscious of your travels, unconscious of the healing that you have received that sustains you. But for now, it is time for you to awake more consciously and to take the direction of your life more seriously, with more responsibility, and with more power manifested from within. And then you can make and manifest the changes that you desire in your outer life. And then you will feel and become the whole you that you desire to be. Many blessings to you all, my friends. Just invite Conrad, if you've got a connection, just feel free to click the mic on at any moment. Just reconnect within if you need to.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm with this kind of Native American healing man. I wouldn't really describe him as a shaman. He's not ceremonial. He's not wearing any sort of like anything like particularly sort of unusual. He's very plain, and he's carrying like this peyote cactus, and he's older. He's worn, like his skin is a little worn, but he's got incredible strength and vitality. And he knows a huge amount about sort of our bodies, the essence of healing and how we connect to nature. His perspective is very nature focused as a modality of healing. And so he was like picking up the earth and rubbing it between his fingers and saying, you are the earth. The earth is in you. And like pointing to the moon and the moonlight coming down on us, saying the moonlight also is always within you, the vastness of the sky. All that you experience in the outside world is within you. It has to be within you, otherwise you could not experience it. So as it is in the greater world outside, so it is in the world within. There is a harmony in the world outside, referring to nature, and beyond, the sky, the cosmos. And as that harmony is in the outside, so is it in the inside. And each element on the outside is connected to that element on the inside. The earth on the outside is connected to the earth on the inside. The water in the streams in the world outside is connected to the water and the streams in the world inside. And illness occurs when there's a severance of that element on the inside to the element on the outside, and the energy cannot flow. This energy grid is severed in parts, and that causes a change in the environment within the body that leads to what we would describe as illness, but really there is no sort of good or bad about it. It's just a change in environment. And in nature always adapts to every environment, outside the physical body and within the physical body, outside the mind and within the mind. And certain thought forms or certain organisms or certain structures begin to take hold as a result of certain severances of energy structures. And so the healing really is natural. It happens by default when those energy structures are allowed to be reconnected again. And so he does this with, he was showing me like a hand drum. You can do this with sound and rhythm and music and resonance in allowing the mind to stay parked and then moving into a state of awareness where the severing that the mind is doing is put at bay, at least for a while, and the energy grid naturally begins to reharmonize and reconnect. I mean, I'm reminded of metronomes, and most of them are in sync and one of them is out. And over time, that one that's out will resynchronize with the rest of them. And so he's saying it's a similar idea to the body. There is harmony already in nature outside. And that harmony, when you allow for that connection, and it's naturally there in proximity. But when the mind blocks it, that connection doesn't exist. But when you park the mind on the side, whether it's through music or through a certain sacred space, certain plant medicines that sort of close down the mind for a while, the healing occurs by default, just naturally. And so we are the natural world around us. There is no separation. And in understanding that there is no separation, that is a great step towards the healing of the mind and the body and the self. And also is the doorway for stepping into the greater world of light that is available as an awareness to all of us. So it's not just about healing, it's about stepping into more of what we really are. And that is one continual spectrum. The direction from sort of illness to health, and health to greater self-awareness is all the same direction. It's a continuous flow, a continuous movement. And so it's also natural in following this process to to step into the light inside of you, and the state of just a sense of calm, openness, bliss, clarity, freedom. Yeah, it's a big world to learn from, and we can always learn more from it by listening to it, by observing it, by examining it, and we'll make our own discoveries in the worlds of healing and self-awareness. And he wishes us luck in that journey. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Conrad, and thank you to your guide as well. It's just wonderful words. Wonderful words. And your virtual background suited it perfectly.
Yeah, it didn't it? It kind of set the stage. That's funny.
So we're closing our eyes. So we've been talking about healing, and we've been talking about the youth of today and the issues that are under the surface, or actually bubbling on the surface. We can actually see them at the moment. But now we're just in the sphere of light that is around us, our sacred space. And now our sacred space in which we're in is merging into the greater light. It is like we are becoming more connected to the whole of the cosmos. And it's almost like I can see almost like a diamond crystal form that is linking us together. So just be aware of any shapes and colours before your third eye. And what is being opened with us, it's essentially a healing portal. And we have a number of archangels who are present, who have been called in by Michael, who are encircling us with many others. And through our thoughts, we wish to relay our own human will, our own human intent, as like food for the angels. It is like their sustenance if we do this. So we are offering to the angels our will, our energy, our effort, to find ways, to find platforms, to find shifts in the consciousness of people who are in influential positions, to open up the conversation on the mental health, in particular of the youth of today, to find and explore, to have the conversations on why things are not ideal and how they can be improved. So we're essentially praying to the angelic realm who was present with us to go and influence leaders, youth leaders, educational leaders, political leaders, to go into this realm of the mental and emotional health of children, particularly adolescents. Go beyond the academics, go beyond the tick boxes, and find out what's really happening and how we can really assist in the full developmental process of a human soul. As that's been sent out, a few of you can see as well and sense. So there may be now, before each of you, there may be a soul brought before you that requires healing. It could be someone in the spirit world, or it could be someone who is here on the earth plane. And you may be aware of a presence that is brought before you. Invite them in. Know that you are safe and protected and that we're going to assist. I believe that most of these children want to have a sense of love and a sense of connection. And it is simply through your own intent that you can provide this sense of connection for those who are brought before us. Just say, we are here, we hear you, we understand you, we acknowledge the presence of your soul. And to know that there are compassionate, spiritually aware people who are here to help. And what we are doing, we're essentially building a portal. We are building a temple here on the earth plane where these souls can more readily gravitate to, as distinct from the difficulty they have in going to higher celestial spheres. So through our own intent, we are picturing and visualizing an earthly healing temple for the astral bodies of today's children. And through the construct of our own mind, a temple is being created as we speak, in a space where the youth of today can more readily access, whether it is in their dream state or even at some other unconscious level. And we can also call into this space, because it is divine, we have created a sacred space that our guides can reach more readily down, as if almost like a glove of light is placed around them to reach down more into the earth sphere than they're normally able to do, and then to help. And they can also sustain and maintain this temple, and we can return to it each week and just give a few moments to sustain and keep it built, to keep it open on the astral plane. And the angel of people will be, the angels will lead their souls to this place. And we can imagine this temple now being surrounded in crystals and crystalline energy, which will hold it and sustain it until we return. Inside there are like literal beds of light on which the light orbs of souls may rest and be recharged, reconnected, rebooted, refueled, rejuvenated, and even reincarnated. So children, youths, even those on suicide watch, can be brought into this place and be reconnected to Earth. So we can picture this temple in our mind, where it's like we're all standing on the periphery, building it in our midst. And there'll be guides who will keep watch for us. And we can each say an attribute that can be embedded into the crystal energy, whether it is strength, courage, belief, love, self-love, self-empowerment, you name it. Let's implant seeds of these virtues within the crystal energy. Just use your mind. now let's imagine like a larger film of light wrapped around this place to protect it, to sustain it, to hold it. And we can return to this place ourselves. Okay, now just we need to close off. So just wiggle your fingers and toes to begin with. Keep your eyes closed though. Just back in that, in our sitting position. Now just put your hands over your solar plexus area. We've opened up ourselves to receiving lower frequencies. We're going to take in a big long breath first of all, then we're going to hold our breath. So draw in a big long breath. Hold it. Now just imagine in particular your sacral chakra just slowing back down in size and speed, so we're not going to pick up other people's negative emotions. Just also protecting our solar plexus area. And now on the out breath, we are severing any psychic or emotional or energetic connection that no longer serves our higher good. And then on the out breath, you can just relax. And now just a moment of gratitude to everyone who's helped us in the spiritual world and also contributed, each of you for contributing in the session. The great divine spirit, we express our gratitude for all that has been provided to us through our guides, angels, archangels, and other celestial beings who have supported us and provided this energy, the energetic space for us to connect and to serve. Okay, so that brings this session to a formal close. And really thank you all for being part of it. And we'll be back on here next week. We're also back on here on Saturday, Sydney time, for those who wish to be part of that little session.